Hello, Thrivers. Today, I want to talk to you about how the narcissist makes you believe that love is conditional, yet source never does. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to look at the massive differences about what is anti love and what is true love, what is unhealthy love, what is healthy love, and how we can get so confused about what it really is, and how do we get to the light, and how do we get out of the darkness. So, dear Thrivers, if you are new to me, I'm Melanie Tony Evans. I'm a survivor of extreme narcissistic abuse who became a thriver. And there was a time in my life where I thought I was broken beyond repair and I would never get my life back, but I did. And through my own healing and thriving, and from recovering from conditions that I was told medically I could never recover from, I created the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program, which is known as NARP, which has to date helped thousands of people from over 160 different countries reclaim themselves, their lives, and their freedom. If you want to know more about that groundbreaking program that turns mere survival into thriving, check it out in my bio. So please know today you are in safe hands. I completely understand and have been through the depths of narcissistic abuse. I'm not speaking to you from theory. I've been where you are and I've helped so many people break free. So what I want to share today, I really hope and believe and trust could be a big relief to you. So let's dive straight in. We are going to talk about the lie of conditional love. So please let me know where you're from in the chat. I'd love to know what country or place that you're tuning in from. And also too, I want you to, if you feel that you've had conditional love in your life, because with a narcissist, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. It doesn't matter what you do. It's either going to be, it'll be right sometimes, it's going to be wrong a lot of times. And you're walking on broken glass trying to please a narcissist. It is so conditional. It is so fair weather love. It's like, as long as my false self is being appeased, then I'm okay with you. And as soon as it's not, I'm definitely not. That is such conditional love. Just put me in the chat if you've experienced that. One of the most painful things about narcissistic abuse is that love is so conditional because the narcissist trains you to perform, to please, and hand over yourself, which means that you're not allowed to have your rights and your boundaries and your preferences. So you may get approval at times, and if you don't, then you're definitely going to get punished, criticized, and abandoned. The narcissist works out what is the wound that's going to create the most emotional pain and deregulation within yourself, and that's what they're going to use to punish you when their false self isn't getting appeased. So this pattern doesn't just affect the relationship with the narcissist, it seeps into everything, and it definitely attacks your inner identity in a really big way. Because what does it train you to believe? It trains you to believe I'm not worthy of love and I must be unlovable, or I'm not good enough to be loved. I'm not doing it right to be loved. And also too, it puts you into the anxiety of trying to do better, trying to prove yourself to be loved. And you think, I'm not perfect enough. Maybe if I just did this, maybe if I just did that. And really what the belief is I'm unlovable and I'm not enough if I am. And the anxiety and even the panic attacks, unless I do it right, I'm going to be punished, I'm going to be rejected. So does this resonate? Does it feel like you had to twist yourself into 1,000 different shapes? You had to bend over backwards, endlessly give, or prove your worth? And even then, you weren't getting your needs met, and maybe you were only getting tiny scraps of care or affection. And often that was conditional, wasn't it? It was so that you would hand over something, or the narcissist would get away with something, or they'd be able to siphon even more of your resources and your life force. If you relate to that, say yes in the chat. because I know you've been through it, and it is soul destroying. And I know you're going to say yes, because it's one of the most common and cruel effects of the abuse is the losing of yourself and feeling that you're not lovable and you're not worthy of life and you're worthy of love, and your self-esteem plummeting. But what I want you to understand is all of that you were receiving and you were going through with a narcissist isn't love. And it's not about love, and it's no reflection on your lovability, because manipulation isn't love. They're two completely different things. And if somebody's not anchored in a love for themselves, they actually don't have the ability to love you. And in reality, a narcissist isn't after love, because that would require vulnerability and connection and honesty and trust. Narcissists don't trust anybody. Narcissists aren't even doing love. So this wasn't about love. Now, real love has never been conditional. And okay, and you might go, well, we do need conditions in love. Well, yeah, we need values and we need boundaries and we need to be honest and vulnerable and speak up about our needs and our wants and our limits. But you know that real love has all of that. And it is about giving people the instructions on how to love you better. But real love is never about destroying somebody's character or demeaning them. It's not, you're a bad person. It's just, that behavior is not okay for me. But it's not about shaming. It's about honest communication. But narcissists are all about shaming. They're all about taking down your identity so that you are never in a powerful enough place to actually see the truth of what's going on, to stand up to them and to walk away. They need you to be diminished and confused and manipulated so that you don't trust yourself and you don't love yourself and you don't believe that you're worthy. And then you're at a vibration where you are trying to get crumbs and not at some level believing that you deserve any better. Even though you logically know better, your inner being doesn't believe it believes better. But I want to introduce you to source love, prime creator love, higher self love, which is true love. And true love is, I call it light codes, I call it the light, I call it our higher self. And even though spiritually I'd been really interested in spiritual concepts, it wasn't until the complete and utter destruction of my identity through narcissistic abuse and knowing that my normal go-tos, you know, it didn't matter how much meditation or yoga I did or even omming, I needed something more. And that's what introduced me to the quantum way to live and healing from the inside out, which required source, which required light codes, which required a power higher than my logical self to heal what I couldn't heal. And when I discovered that world, the quantum world, and started working in that world on myself, I discovered the love that I've been looking for my entire life. And, you know, in a religious sense, you may call that God. You may, you know, in a new age sense, you might call that the universe. To me, it doesn't matter. It's non-denominational. To me, it is creator of all that is, whatever denomination you want to look at that, is a life force. And it is unconditional, which is often very in contrary to what we've been led to believe in a religious sense. But let me just introduce you. I know a lot of you in this community are already on board with this. You're working with me in Shifts Happen. You're understanding light codes. We're doing ascension work. But there may be people that are new to my work that you kind of know it or you felt it at times. You know, those times where you've just felt it one and it doesn't matter what's going on. You feel this peace and this wholeness, and it's like everything is just perfect in the moment of now, even though logically it doesn't look like that. That's the times where you are embodying the light of the creator. And the quantum healing preface is all about that. And that's real love. And I want to talk to you about that because it's the exact opposite of narcissistic abuse. Narcissists are disconnected from source, they're disconnected from the light. They are not emulating or expressing the light through them because narcissists believe they're God. And they don't like unity consciousness, which means that I'm going to surrender my ego and I'm going to allow a higher power to be me. And what I believe in the quantum sense is that we are all fractals of source, just having an experience of being disconnected from source through our trauma, through our egos, through our programming, which hasn't known that we deserve source's blessings and light and love as our natural organic state because we've been carrying so much trauma and so much programming and hurt people, and narcissists have completely disconnected from the light and unity, consciousness and love and empathy for themselves. Firstly, it has to be that, and for others, and they're not letting the light in at all. You know, and the ego is edging God out. That's the brilliant acronym that Wayne Dyer said, edging God out. I'm not going to let a higher power in. Now, the interesting thing is, is that I've met a lot of people that have got into the quantum journey, excuse me, that were absolute atheists. And a lot of them had gone through religious abuse or just been turned off it. And as atheists, when they started working with light codes and their higher self, they completely and utterly started healing. So you can be an atheist and still work like this. Because when I say source, I'm not meaning religion. I'm not talking about dogma or doctrine. I'm talking about the infinite light, the very essence of creation itself. So that's the energy that breathes you, that grows through trees, that turns night into day. It's the energy and the processes that is running the trillions of chemical reactions in your body that keep you alive without your conscious mind even being involved in it. So this energy has never stopped being available. It's constant. It just is. God's source, prime creation just is. And this energy has never not been available to you. It's never judged you. It's never stopped pouring towards you. It doesn't say, prove yourself first and then I'll bless you, like a narcissistic person or a structure will. Because it is all that is. It has no requirement for you to be whatever you are being. It doesn't withhold love until you perform. Source is constant, ever loving, ever blessing. Okay, I just want you to say in the chat, I feel that, if you know that. If you're experiencing it, if you're working towards this, if there's a part of you that cellularly remembers that, right? I feel that. And I want you to know this. If you felt disconnected from love, which is peace, which is wholeness, which is good feelings inside of us, it wasn't because Source abandoned you. And I know it can feel like that. I used to have those beliefs too. It was because trauma, shame, and false programs created veils that made you feel cut off from Source. And narcissists feed these veils. They operate in these veils, in these shadows. And they keep you believing that love needs to be earned. Now, why is healing with Source so important? Because you might be thinking, well, hang on, I've been trying to heal with researching narcissists, and I've been trying to heal, time heals all wounds. I promise you, I've met people 45 years on who are not healed at all. There are certain traumas that are not healed by time. And we could argue that narcissistic abuse, that tears apart the fabric of your very identity, it's a soul trauma. This is all happening at a soul level. It's a soul initiation opportunity, and it is a soul trauma Time doesn't just heal that. Therapy, cognitive therapy, mind therapy. The mind, once we're 35 years old and age 35 years of age and older, our mind is responsible for 5% of what we think, draw in, and experience. 95% of our life is already on autopilot due to the programming that we've had. And we know that a lot of the programming has been very painful. And whatever has the most emotional content in it is our programming. Trauma has a lot of emotional content. So willpower, 5% against 95%, talk or cognitive therapy and learning is a 5% against the 95%. That doesn't heal us. And these things can help momentarily, like we get some relief, we might get an answer. You might do some research about narcissists and you get an answer and it gives you some peace, but then you start questioning it, or you need to go back to that article again and you want to read it again and get into it again because it didn't get embodied. So it's in the body that we need to work, which is quantum. And quantumly, if we're working with light codes, things can happen so much faster. We're after full lasting freedom, and trauma is not just mental. Actually, what's going on mentally is the symptom because the brain follows the body. It's only 5%, and whatever's going on in the being, which is the 95%, is what the brain thinks about. So trauma is the origin of it isn't mental, and therefore it's not something that you can think your way out of. Trauma is energetic, it's somatic, it's embodied, it's in your body. And it creates programs like, I'm not safe, I'm not enough, I've been abandoned, I'm going to keep getting abandoned. And if we work at the mind level, those programs just keep looping, because the other thing about the mind that you understand when you go quantum is the mind can only think within the bandwidth of the trauma in the body. You don't actually have access to higher thinking when the trauma is still in your body. And when you're not using a higher power and source light codes to actually dislodge that trauma and fill up with a higher self that's already living in abundance and love and health and truth and integrity. You already have a higher self living at that frequency. You just can't access what's pouring down towards you because you don't have the vessel, the body that can get it in to get it embodied. Because understanding is information. You're always standing under the information. It's not in your body. Inner standing is you are embodied and therefore you're standing in it. There's a huge difference. And it's all to do with working with a higher power. I promise you, in the 20 plus years that I've been doing this, I have never seen people disconnected from the higher power and not working with that make thriver recoveries. Not one. And that's the truth. Because this isn't just normal, I'm just going to get over it, and time and distractions are going to help me get better. Okay, so, and that's why if you're looping, which is the same triggers, the same relationships, the same self-doubt, the same trying to crawl out of this hole that narcissistic abuse puts you in, it's all to do with you're not being able to access true love. True love is never external. Okay, it doesn't matter how much external love you get from the outside, if you don't have the vessel to hold it and to know a love through the higher self, which is a love for self, and I am an embodiment of love, you could get all the love you wanted from the outside and you would reject it and sabotage it. And that's the truth for all of us. Okay. And the thing is, we need to become love for it to come in integrity from the outside. It's quantum law, so within, so without. We've had through the narcissistic experience everything that's not love, and we break down in love and we believe that we're unlovable. And it's through the repairing of that and coming back to love on the inside, then the outer can shift and we can receive true love. That's how it works. So the programs that are about we're unlovable, we're unworthy of love, we're not safe in our body, humans aren't safe. which is true. You've been traumatized, you've been terrorized. But if all of those programs and pain still stay there and we stay in that victimization, they don't leave your body, they don't leave your cells, they don't leave your DNA. And that's what hurts, is that trauma. That's what needs to be repaired. Okay, so when we understand that a true love does exist, and a true love needs to be independent to be able to draw true love in. It needs to be between ourselves, our soul, and source. We've let go of darkness and pain and all the false programs. We've brought in a light where we can feel whole right now, regardless of what our life feels like. And that was absolutely my journey of, after losing everything through false love and trauma and believing that I was so unlovable and so broken and so victimized, and then discovering through an incredible epiphany in a life and death breakdown that there are source light codes, researching, studying, putting together ways to be able to get trauma out and get the light in my body, which was quantum freedom healing, which is exactly what I did to heal. And then realizing that even though I'd lost everything, all my money, all the people in my life, who I thought was the love of my life, my health in a complete psychotic adrenal breakdown, and being at a point in my life where there was logically zero hope. And I realized that acceptance that everything had happened to lose my old self that was filled with all sorts of programs from my past lives and my childhood that were about trauma and false love, to be able to release them and fill with the light codes. And for the first time in my life, with nothing in my life and no outer evidence of any love whatsoever, to be able to come to wholeness and peace inside. And then my life started to fill with blessings and synchronicities and miracles that blew my mind. And it'll be the same for you. This is how we get all of the love that Source has as the blessings and the miracles for us, which was our birthright, which has just been blocked by our trauma. So here's the relief that I want you to feel today. You never had to earn love. You never had to earn love. You never had to prove yourself. You never had to twist yourself into somebody else's version of you to declare care, safety, or affection. Now, as a child, yes, you were powerless. And people say, well, how did I get that childhood of so much abuse? And the truth is, there are no mistakes. At a soul level, you had come from previous lifetimes where you were still carrying the trauma and the victimization of what had happened to you in previous incarnations. And you are here as a soul to be able to alleviate yourself of that, to actually be able to feel it, hold it, release it, replace it with light codes to receive blessings from Source, which is love, which is integrity, which is true connection, which is abundance, which is prosperity, which is great health. All of these things are sitting there waiting for you. But until you reverse that karmic condition of the trauma in your body generating and attracting the family you were born into, to make the unconscious conscious, your soul knew that you were never going to reverse this unless you went through it again and had the experience in your body of the trauma of that, to be able to turn inwards, to elevate and evolve yourself. That's why your soul's here. That's the only purpose your soul is here, is to go through that process, to then free yourself to receive the gifts of your soul right, to be Source emulating Source, having these blessings. So, as an adult, as a child, we were always going to go through that experience. It's not like a 5-year-old child can say, Mum or Dad, these are my rights and my values and my boundaries, and unless you meet me there, I'm leaving. You can't do that as a child. You're always going to have that experience, as we all did. But as an adult, we can become conscious, we can understand what's going on, and we can understand the difference between false love and true love. False love is what a narcissist does. True love is what we can get from Source directly. And as an adult, we thought we still had to earn love. We thought we had to prove ourselves. We thought we had to twist ourselves into a pretzel to get the care, the safety, or the affection. With True Source Prime Creator, none of that is necessary. The only way we have to earn love, light, and blessings is to free ourselves from our internal trauma, to make space for it to start flowing into our life. And that was the experience I had when I went quantum. It was crazy. You know, when I started releasing trauma and filling up with light and just feeling whole and at peace, even though I was sick and broke and had lost everybody, the things, the miracles that started flooding into my life were not a coincidence. I made room for Source's blessings. So, the narcissists, of course, lied. They manipulated. They made you believe love was conditional, because then they get you like a performing monkey, jumping around, clapping, rolling on your back, doing whatever you have to do to try to get their affection and their love. And it was never real. It doesn't mean that you were unlovable. It doesn't mean you weren't good enough. It meant that you were stuck in a movie that is a lie. It's not the truth. The infinite love, the infinite light has always loved you. It's always poured into you. It's always held you. It's always been there. So it's not like, am I going to get love, or am I going to get support? Am I going to get miracles? Am I going to get help? Am I going to get support? Am I going to get assistance? It's there. It's already your birthright. That's not a question. The question is am I letting go of false love from inside of me, which is all the trauma and the pain and the false beliefs, and am I making space for it to flood in? Because once you start feeling that light and that peace in your body, quantum law, so within, so without, it's inevitable. It cannot not come into your life. So healing is not about making yourself worthy of love, because you already are. Healing is about dissolving the blocks that have made you forget that. Is this speaking to you? Say truth in the chat if you feel that in the cells of your body. Write the words truth. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, I want to hear from you. Okay. And you know what? There can be resistance to that, because the thing is, in our programming, which has been from narcissistic individuals, which is just people disconnected from light, in their ego, in fear, in pain, in trauma, who are trying to manipulate to get their share of the goodies, who feel unworthy of it. That's what begets narcissism. You know, and we've had so much training and programming that we're not worthy, we're not good enough, we don't deserve, that it can be really, there's a lot of resistance in the body when you are told that you never had to earn your worth. It's inherent. Your blessings are inherent. You are a fractal of source. You are source sourcing, and you just forgot that. You deserve everything you want. And the thing is, when you want anything, whether it be love or prosperity or mission or purpose or community, you can't have a desire without that thing that you are seeking you. It's two sides of a magnet. You can't be desiring it if it's not true for you. It's an impossibility. It's a quantum impossibility. So it's already there. What's blocking it is what's important. And when we're in narcissistic abuse and we're in trauma bonds, we are so cut off from the light. We are not able to feel the light. Have you noticed that when you're in a narcissistic abuse situation and trauma bonds, everything in your life goes to shit? It just does. Like, things go wrong, your car breaks down, stuff, other relationships crack. Things just, because you're in anti-life, you're in anti-love, you're disconnected from Prime Creator, Source. You're in a black void. disconnected from light, which means disconnected from love, and everything goes into chaos. Just say chaos in the chat if you have experienced that or if you're still experiencing it, because that's what happens. Okay, so we want to get out of chaos. We want to get out of that darkness and we want to get back to the light. And it can be really helpful to understand this isn't love. This isn't love. This isn't some aspect of my lovability. This isn't love. This is a disconnection from source and a manipulation to mine me and get my life force, but it's got nothing to do with love. And we can start to understand what true love is. I didn't understand it into the quantum journey, which was phenomenal because I'd done all of this stuff from, you know, in spirituality and learning and researching and all these things. And I didn't understand the importance of that higher power, those light codes, because that is love. That's the force of creation throughout this entire physical existence is love. And we can let it in. And it heals the unhealable. I dissolve conditions in my body like a complete brain breakdown, brain damage, fibromyalgia at levels that were just unspeakable, complicated post-traumatic stress disorder, adrenal breakdown that I was told I would never recover from, and I would need 3 antipsychotics for the rest of my life to even exist, and that I'd never be the same again. The light codes healed all of it because it was trauma that was generating all of it. And once I let go of trauma and replaced it with light codes, my body, my mind, my being, my nervous system healed. And it was so fast because I reset back to the Creator's image of me, which is healed and whole, which is my true self. And that's how we heal quantumly. Okay. So let's just say it again. Healing is not about making yourself worthy of love because you already are. You already are healed and whole in the Creator's version of you, which is your true self. It's only our disconnection that's taken us away from that. So I want you to just take a breath and feel into it. How does it feel to know that love has never been conditional? That real love is not conditional. Not for a single moment. Breathe into it. How does that feel? When you connect to that truth through your heart, and I want you to open up your heart space, the center of your chest, because your heart is your connection to infinite worth, love, and truth. How does it feel to know that true love is not conditional? Not for a single moment. Let me know in the chat how that feels. How does it feel that you were never unworthy? You're never abandoned by Source Creator, infinite love, infinite future blessings. You are never separated from it. It's never out of your reach. You're not abandoned. You're not cut off from the infinite. It's who you are. Okay. How does it feel? And the more that you stand in this and the more that you start aligning your beliefs with this and you vibrate at that, and one of the most powerful ways that you can vibrate at that is even in breakdown, where things, and a lot of people are going through breakdown at the moment. Energetically, it's a big deal. The old self is dying and the new self, and it needs to make way for the new self. And what is an old self? It's when you're feeling your traumas, your fears of abandonment, your fear of separation, your fear of unlovable, but rather than bypassing and just turning on Netflix or mindlessly scrolling or going and having a cigarette or a drink or jumping on an abuse forum and saying how bad narcissists are, all of that is spiritual bypass. All of that is self-abandonment. When you are able to open your body and just feel it and be with those feelings and bless and accept them, And bless and accept that you are worthy of a miracle and a breakthrough, and accept the process and accept the soul lesson that you're going through to become the true self. Then you are going to start magnetizing support, assistance, and healing in record time. But it never happens in resistance and judgment. And that's part of the lesson. That's part of the transformation from old to let the old self die. Let it burn off. Feel it, bless it, let it go. And that's where NARP helps you. It helps you let it go really quickly and powerfully. So, all right. I hope that this has spoken to you. I hope it's given you hope. And my greatest, wish in this life is to make you understand the truth of true love and to get clear about whenever you feel like you are chasing your tail, you're performing, you're trying to jump through hoops. This isn't real love. This is manipulation. Okay. So have a look at what I also do. If you are so stuck in trauma bonds right now, I want you to write bond, B-O-N-D in the chat, and I'm going to send you my free gift to you, which is breaking trauma bonds. I'm going to give you some really helpful little tips and shifts that you can do that are going to start giving you relief today to break out of false love and start moving towards true love. So just write bond in the chat if you haven't already picked up that free gift from other posts and things that I've done. I'd love you to have it. So let's just end in this truth. Love has never been conditional. Never. Okay, and the word is bond, B-O-N-D, to get that. Not bonds, bond, B-O-N-D. Okay, so write that in the chat and I'll send it straight to you. All right, so love has never been conditional, it's never been withheld, and it's never gone. It's yours, and it always will be. And I really, really hope that this helps. So just remember, everybody, the word is bond, B-O-N-D, no S, just B-O-N-D. Put the bond in the chat and I will send you that gift. All right, I love you. I want to bring you closer to a love of yourself and a love with source and being able to get out of the dark pit of narcissistic abuse, because you deserve it. And again, if you want to take this journey to a direct way to get the trauma out and the light in, check out NARP, the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program, in my bio. It's helped thousands of people break free, and myself. So I love you, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.